Hello, everybody. I just shouted that pretty loud into the
Oof,
microphone. I didn't mean to come
coming
in so hot, bro.
coming in hot, blazing hot. Boy, oh boy.
Hello, everybody. You're
Hi.
here. This is the world's best dad show. You're here with Brian and Adam. Brian, go ahead and bring us in.
I'm Brian, and that's Adam. And we are the owners of the sponsor of this show, which is Fortunato Chocolate, home of Fortunato #4 chocolate. We buy cacao beans in northern Peru from heirloom, genetically superior cacao beans from one group of farmers. And then we make chocolate out of those beans and we sell it at fortunatochocolate.com. So come on by if you're interested in some really world-class chocolate at a great price that really helps a group of farmers to get ahead in life.
Yep. Also
Mhm.
brought to you by the book. I always mess this up. I don't know where to point. Here we are,
You got
right
it.
here. The new book
Hmm.
coming out June 4th, Finding Fortunato, written by me, mostly about Brian. And you can find that on our store, on the website, fortunatochocolate.com, or on Amazon if you prefer a Kindle or an audiobook. June 4th, year of our Lord, 2024.
That's right. That's
Yep.
right. Whichever Lord you worship, that's the one it's coming out this year in June.
Yep. In the name of that Lord. No,
That's right.
this is we're going down a weird path. Let me just take care of a couple little more pieces of business here.
Yes.
One, if you like the show, maybe mash the like button, as the
Hmm.
kids are saying now, Brian.
Hmm.
Do you really mash it though?
Oh, you know what they like to do these days? They take their elbow and they really just get that. They get it with their elbow. That's
Yeah.
that's what's happening
You know
now.
what? Don't
Mhm.
mash the like button.
No, elbow it.
Slam it. Go ahead and
Slam.
slam the like
Give the
button.
like button an elbow slam. There could be
Slam
a
it.
thumbs up, it could be a subscribe button, it could be a like button, but whatever you can do to show the people that are allowing you to listen or see this podcast that you're enjoying it and that you want to hear it some more. That'll be helpful to us, and we would really appreciate it.
Yeah, and then somebody will be walking by and they'll just see you elbowing the crap out of your phone
Hmm.
and say, "Hey, man, everything all right? What do you do?" It's like, "No, I like what I'm watching here."
And they're like, "Oh, what is it? Tell me about what you're watching," and then you can
Yeah.
explain it to them, and hopefully, bring someone else onto the crew. So
Yeah.
we would appreciate that. It's very
Yeah, so
helpful.
we'd appreciate if you'd slam the like button with your elbow. And then
Hmm.
also if you like if you're picking up what we're putting down, maybe you
Hmm.
subscribe. Get a notification when a new episode comes out.
You could even go over to www.fortunatochocolate.com and take a look at the products and even try some, because let me tell you something, that's a win-win. It's a win for the business. It's a win for you because you're going to get something really, really delicious. In fact, Adam, were we not just looking at a little award, award that we just got? We've now got over 100,000 orders, and we are so grateful to anyone who's listening or watching who has ordered from us and who's supporting our little family chocolate business, the little business that could. We really appreciate it. We can't say enough to thank you.
Unbelievable, dude.
Yeah, really is.
Unbelievable.
Mm-hmm.
Um, a lot of stuff that has happened like in our business or that's happened recently really is blowing my mind, bro.
Mm-hmm.
Because we're just a couple of dudes. We'll start with you. You flunked 12th grade.
I did. I flunked out of high school, and I was already such a major I was already on such a majorly bad track that I knew that I wasn't going to be able to go to university, and my dad was booting me out of the house, so I had to join the army in advance in my senior year of high school, contingent upon me graduating high school, and I could not
Oh
even graduate high school.
man.
I had to go to summer school to finish high school just for the pleasure of enlisting in the army as a private.
Yes, and then I got kicked out of college my junior year
Mm-hmm.
for having a drinking problem, and I went to rehab where I lived with crack and heroin and meth addicts.
Mm-hmm.
And then next thing you know, we own a chocolate company and everything's going really. We have kids.
Yeah, there was nothing between those two. It was just bang, bang, boom, and then here
Boom,
we
got
are.
kicked out of
Yeah,
college, had some kids, started a business, and then
and here we are.
everything got back on
Yeah.
track.
No, the track was somewhat more convoluted than that, as people can find out a lot about in the book. And yeah, it's a humdinger of a read, even though I'm biased and not objective about it. It reads very well, Adam. And yeah,
Well,
doesn't matter what happens early; it matters what happens down the road.
and the reason I brought all that up is because of what you said just about how grateful and thankful we are.
Mm-hmm.
Because yeah, no way we could have known that 100, we'd ever be able to sell 100,000 orders online. That's outrageous to me.
It's
So pretty
it's a
rad,
mind
bro.
blower. Yeah.
Yeah, pretty rad. All right, now this show is the world's greatest dad show, and the purpose of this show, and really the purpose of any content that we do, i.e., the book or the our daily newsletter, we just would like, if we can, to give a little something extra. to the people who might be interested in our company. And when we think about the things we know about, we don't know about that much. We know about chocolate. We know about getting kicked out of college. We
Mm-hmm.
know about flunking 12th grade and
Mm-hmm.
joining the army, and we know about being dads. Because between us, we got 5 kids.
We do.
And of all of those
We
things,
average 2.5 kids apiece,
we
Adam.
do. Yeah,
That's a lot of kid. That's a lot of
strong.
kid.
It's
Yeah,
yeah, I mean, we're growing the population at that rate.
that's right. Very slightly. I think you need to
I
have
I think more than
2.2 to replace yourself or something. No, I guess just two. So we're over replacing ourselves by half a kid each.
well that's not a small rate. That's a
Mhm.
25% growth rate. That's pretty high actually.
I'm no mathematician, but that
Yeah.
sounds right to me.
It's 20 it's a
Yeah.
fourth of two.
Oh.
So if you compound 25%, that's we're
With compounding interest, I believe that my great great grandchildren were going to have like 18 kids apiece. I'm pretty sure
dude,
that's the way interest works.
hey, if you compound 25%
Mm-hmm.
over like let's just say 10 or 15 generations, it'll
That
turn
means
into a crap load of kids.
the value of one of our
Present
kids
value.
today is worth like
Present value.
142 kids 15 generations from
In
now.
finance, I studied accounting. In finance, they have a thing called the time value of money.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And in reproduction, you have the present value of future children, bro.
Present value of future children. Oh man, as a father, that really warms my heart. I really like thinking about my kids in very fiduciary terms. I think this is a
Yeah.
really good way to
Uh-huh.
think about being a dad. But you know
Yeah.
what? It's interesting that we're doing that because okay, so you're an accountant.
Yeah.
And you kind of think in terms of accounting and I'm an operational guy and I really think in terms of the operations of things.
That's interesting.
We all bring our personality and our character and our specialties to the job of fathering, to the job of being a dad, right?
Yep.
Bring our quirks to the job of being a dad, right?
We do.
So here's the question. I've been wanting to ask you this question for a while because you're a quirky guy. I'm a quirky guy. What kind of quirks are you bringing to fathering that maybe help or that maybe hurt your fathering? And what if you wanted your kids to proudly say a quirk of yours to one of their friends, what would it be? What do you hope you're imparting to them on the quirky side of things?
All
Because
right.
man, quirky is the opposite of boring. It's good to be a little quirky as long as it's not a destructive way of being that, you know?
All right. So let me preface this by
Mm-hmm.
giving an example of a quirk that I remember of my dad. And maybe you could share a quirk from your dad, and then we'll get
Sure.
in just so everybody can get the context of where I think you're coming from.
Mm-hmm.
So my dad, who was your stepdad for a while,
Mm-hmm.
um, because we have the same mom, different biological fathers, just so people don't have to try to speculate what
That's
we're
right.
talking
That's why
about.
he's Adam
Yeah,
Pearson and I'm Brian
yeah,
Horsley. We
yeah,
have the
yeah.
same mom,
Different dads.
great lady, two different dads,
Yeah,
both guys.
yeah, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And our mom was married to my dad for like 20 years and was married to
Mm-hmm.
Brian's dad prior. Okay, so my dad was a cool guy, business owner, owned a hotel, entrepreneur, and I think by all measures, people would say that's a pretty cool dude.
Mm-hmm.
As he got older in age, I don't know what happens to men. I don't know if you're there yet. Something happens to men where they stop. I'm signaling with my hand because I just want to add
A lot
emphasis.
of emphasis happening here, Adam. Woof.
Something happens to men. I
Mm-hmm.
believe at some point they cross a threshold where they stop caring. Really, they stop caring about how they look in public altogether. And the thing,
I'm there.
are you? That's what
I'm right at that changeover. I
I'm not
really
there
am
yet.
right at
I'm
that.
not
Yeah,
there
I'm right at
yet.
that changeover. I'm older than you, so that makes
You
sense.
are correct. Now,
Yes.
at some point in my teenage years, I
Mm-hmm.
remember my dad would be like, "Hey, Adam, we got to go to the grocery store." And I go, "All right, man, let's go." I go to my room, just like put on some jeans, maybe change my
Mm-hmm.
shirt. I come back, he's got his keys and his wallet and everything. And he's wearing exactly what he was just wearing in the house,
Mm-hmm.
which is just sweats, a ratty old shirt. He puts on some beat up old shoes. He used to tuck his sweats into his socks. And then, yeah,
Oh,
I don't know why, but he would,
I
it was,
mean, I'll go out looking like a homeless guy, but not a homeless guy with his sweats tucked into his
he
socks.
would already have his sweats tucked into his socks in the house. Now, I don't know why, but I just feel like I come out and he'd be like, all right, let's roll. And I look at him like, you don't want to put on a pair of jeans or something? He's like, why? I'm ready right now.
When the son turns into the mother or the wife. That's funny.
Uh-huh. All right. So that's the kind of quirk
Mm.
That's the kind of quirk that we're talking about. All right.
By the way, I could just take the quirk you just mentioned and easily move it right into my column, except I don't even think that's the quirkiest thing about me. But yeah, that I've got that. Yes.
All right. So here's a all right. So that's a thing my dad does.
Okay,
Now,
so
or he did. He did.
Okay,
Now,
can I give one that my dad did?
yeah. Go ahead and do yours
Okay.
first. Yeah.
Yeah. So here's one that my dad did, and this is a really silly one, but my dad, Dave Horsley, great guy, a little bit of an edgy driver. He likes to go kind of fast, and anytime he's in the left turn lane and somebody missed it and they want to get into the left turn, or anybody sometimes is edging over or wants to get into his lane, my dad will look over him and go, "Not through the Iron Duke, you don't." He takes great pride in not letting people in and calling himself the Iron Duke.
Where did he get? Where's the Iron Duke thing coming from? You made it up?
I don't know. Maybe it came from my granddad, Art Horsley, but my dad constantly, if you're driving down, he lives outside of Atlanta, and if you're driving down 35 towards the airport, my dad will almost certainly at some point, someone will start edging over. It's pretty obvious they want to get in, and my dad will be like, "Not through the Iron Duke, you don't."
It's funny on many levels, dude.
It is. Whereas I'm just like, I mean, we could just let that guy in. It's not that big deal. It's like, "Oh, not through the Iron Duke."
Does he ever refer to himself as the Iron Duke in any other context?
In no other context, nor does he think of himself as the Iron Duke, except when he's driving and not letting people in.
We're gonna have to research whether or not the Iron Duke is a thing.
Maybe it was like he's a history major. Maybe it was like a World War II pilot, World War I,
dude, the
Iron World War I ace. But
is he otherwise a very, I don't know what's the word I'm looking for, like a very funny guy?
Yes, he's a funny guy, but he's not edgy or unrelaxed in any other context except when somebody seems like they want to get ahead of him or get in or something like that. He's like, "Man, not through the Iron Duke, you don't." And he drives a big enough car to like elbow shoulder people out.
I got questions about this. Have you ever heard him call anybody else by a nickname?
He's not really a nickname guy,
but he has a nickname for himself. Nickname,
but only in the context of driving and not letting people in. He does not think of himself as the Iron Duke, nor have that as a nickname at any other time.
All right, I'm going to tell you my quirk, and I know my kids hate this.
Mm-hmm.
But I put it on them. Mm-hmm. And speaking of putting things on your kids, I have another idea if we have time at the end of this. If not, we'll put it off for next time.
Okay.
I always want to walk everywhere,
even
if it's really far, and I make my kids walk with me, and they see it coming a mile away. They see it coming so much so that it's like, "Hey, we're going to be going out," and they'll go out, and if the doors are unlocked in my car, they'll just all get in the car. In hopes that the momentum of the fact that they're in the car will get me to drive them where we got to go. And on Wednesday nights, my wife works the chocolate shop, and the boys wanted this last Wednesday. The boys wanted me to take them out for food, and I always take them to one place around here, which is a Mexican food restaurant where they give you free chips before you eat. And so I go really light on what I order.
Yes,
and we eat a lot of free chips. But that place is a solid, I'm going to call it 2 miles. And my kids are like, "Hey, we're going to the place." And they went out and tried to jump in the car, but all the doors were locked. I said, "Sorry, boys.
We're walking. We're walking to the
Yep." And I made them hoof it 40 minutes in each direction just to get a meal.
Whew. Including now you have a young son who's, how old is Daniel now?
He's 5. I might pick him on my shoulders. But I like to walk everywhere. I walk everywhere. So
we live in a rainy place, so they could frequently end up walking in the rain.
I make them walk in the rain.
Yeah.
So hopefully they remember that hopefully they'll remember that about their old man.
That is quirky.
Yeah, but I'm not to the point where I don't care what I look like quite yet. I'm not at the point that, Also, I'm cheap, dude. Are you cheap?
Well, by the way, that was going to be my quirk, but it has a
cheap.
particular manifestation. You're talking about like you go for the free chips. So with this, just how we took a little family trip this week. I just got back. That's why you might have done some podcast or some shows. I'm sorry, solo. We did everything we could to minimize, which my wife was fully on board for. We made lasagnas beforehand and froze them and took them so we didn't have to go out to expensive dinners, and took all the veggies or the food that we had in our fridge down with us and ate in, etc. And all that's fine. but I have a particular quirk coming back. We were in Oregon, and Oregon has no sales tax, and they have all the outlet malls. So we went by an outlet mall because my wife and son needed some things, and there's no sales tax down there. So
Good way to go. Save
good way to go.
10%, bottom line.
We go into the place, and here's my particular cheapness quirk. It's not so much about the overall price, about the percentage off. I'm a maniac for the percentage off.
That's so funny.
And all they have to do is elevate the list price. And I'm a sucker for it. I freely admit it. So we were getting some shoes, and my son wanted some shoes that were on sale for from 55 to 40, $39.99.
Oh, so you're running the percentage?
I was like, that's not a really good percentage. And we were looking, and they were all white. And I'm like, you're just going to get them dirty, but I'm really concerned about that percentage. And then we realized that this was at the Nike outlet store, and they have the one fold over flap with the little bit of Velcro that secures them. And I said, wait a minute, we've had this problem with Nikes before. I might consider buying these, but we've already seen that Velcro is going to fail, right? So we got to look for another pair. We go over to the discount wall. Right?
I know you love a good discount wall, bro.
Oh, the discount wall, Mike. Are you kidding me?
I know. That's
amazing. He picks out a pair of shoes. They're like Jordans. Instead of the 40 for the other ones, these are 45, and I can't see any reduced price on it. So I go talk to the sales associate. He goes, well, the stuff on the wall is 30% off. Oh, no, the 30% off ended yesterday. It's what's listed, the 45. And I was devastated. I went back and said, Dominic, man, there's no additional off. I don't know if we're going to be able to do this. He goes, well, why are they on the discount wall? I said, that's what I'm saying. It's a jip. It's a cheat. We're not doing it. There's no percent off. Now, turns out they were refurbished. And finally, my wife talked a little sense into me. She said, wait a minute. You were willing to pay 40, even though you're grumbling.
It's a $5 spread.
These are much better shoes with a better attachment system for $5 more. We went up to the front. We go to check out. He rings it up. It rings up as 90.
Oh, so you got 50% off, bro.
And then I said, whoa, that's not right. He goes, no, I'll take it off after. I turn around to Dominic. I was like, 50%, buddy. We were high-fiving, doing a little jig.
That's so funny, dude.
50%. Literally lit all my neurons on fire. So that's
funny,
I'm
dude.
heavily into the percentage off, even when it's actually not the cheapest way to go.
That's funny, man. I just remembered another quirk that my kids remember about me.
Mm-hmm.
I throw away everything.
Yeah, you do. Yeah,
I throw away everything.
Yeah.
If my kids, but it's gotten ridiculous, right? So if my kids leave, I mean, it's got ridiculous how they see me. So if my kids leave toys around, if I find toys under the couch, I'm throwing them away. You'll never see them again. Or
that's harsh.
They'll be just gone. They'll just and then you'll be looking for them and you won't know where they are. And I even do this with like my kid.
I'm just picturing the dawning realization on your kid's face when they're looking for them and they don't know where they are, and they're like, "Where's my favorite toy?" And then like,
no! Hey, so many times because I operate on a theory that if you left it under the couch and you don't know where it is,
you couldn't have cared that much.
You don't care. But so that's how they see me. But now it gets like this. They won't be able to find like the iPad. And they go, hey, Dad, did you throw away the iPad? I'm like, come on, man. What do you think I am? I'm just throwing away iPads.
That's really funny because the kids recognize the quirk because Dominic now, when like we were at a store at the place where a different store, a different context, but he was looking, he was like, hey, got a pretty good percentage off over here, Pop.
Well, he knows he can work the system on you now.
He knows he can work the system. He's like, I know it's $120, but originally it was $2.
My kids were like, hey, Dad, I can't find my brand new my brand new sneakers, my brand new tennis shoes. Did you throw them away? It's like, look, dude, I'm not gonna throw away your brand new tennis shoes. Use some context here, man. Use your head a little bit.
That's
all
funny.
Right. Well, I think we could wrap it up here. I think this was a good. But here's what I want to talk about on our next show, Brian, which will be coming out 2 days from now on Monday.
Okay.
It's a philosophical question, bro.
Okay, I'm gonna write a note so that we don't forget this.
Philosophical question.
Yes.
Given that kids didn't really ask to be born or even to be your kids, philosophically, what rights do we really have to impose very much on our kids? That was a thought that I was having.
I'm just taking a note so we can.
Yeah, because we all I think we all have preconceived ideas about who our kids should be. But they also didn't ask to be born or be our kids. So I was just thinking, sometimes you might be getting on your kid's case about what they ought to do or how they ought to act. And they've got a pretty good trump card, which is kind of like, who are you to tell me what I should do? I didn't really ask to even be your kid.
Yeah, I've got thoughts. I've got thoughts on this that I want to revisit when we bring this up, and including my kids saying exactly that. So yes,
Yeah, yeah,
let's
because
get into that.
it's a fair point. It's a
It
fair
is a fair
thing.
point. It's a
It's a
fair point.
fair point for a kid to say.
It's a fair point to ask. I'm not sure they like the answer, but we'll get into it.
Okay, we're gonna unpack it. All right, everybody, if you like the show, if you like quirks, hey, if you got a quirk, leave it in the comments.
Please comment your
Yeah,
quirk. We'd love to hear them
that'd be
because
cool.
ours are probably pretty mundane. Someone else has got to have some even wilder quirks. I may even have wilder ones I couldn't easily access. But yeah,
Yeah, maybe so. All right, if you like the show, please hit the like button. If you want to be notified when more shows come out, hit subscribe. FortunadoChocolate.com. The link to the book is in the link to the Amazon page for the book is also in the description. Any final words, Brian?
I just want to say thanks everybody for
Thank
listening,
you.
for watching, and for mashing like, and for going over to www.fortunadochocolate.com. And hey, if you're thinking about getting a book, I got the advanced copy right here. If you're thinking about getting a book, look at this. Oh,
Beautiful.
feels so good.
Beautiful. All right.
Absolutely.
Thank you, everybody. Have a nice one.